Discover College Soccer podcast is sponsored by VIO. VIO is the #1 AI camera solution helping players capture college recruitment videos. Check out their new starter and family options by clicking on the link in the description or visit Discover College Soccer to learn more. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Discover College Soccer. Today, I'm lucky enough to be joined by Coach Byron from Randall University in Oklahoma. Welcome, Coach. How are you today?
I'm good, Matt. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Excited to talk to you. Randall's an NCCAA school, and I coached in NCCAA many, many moons ago. But and of course, they always have their finals not too far from me down here in Florida.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Yeah,
at
absolutely.
the old
Kiss.
Austin Tyndall complex, right?
Mm-hmm. That's
Um,
right.
so we're talking here. It's May. I'm guessing maybe the students have even gone home at this point. I don't know, or getting ready to at least. Um, so in terms of your recruiting for the fall, I mean, are you wrapped up? You still looking for a few more pieces? What's your normal kind of timeline when it comes to recruiting?
Yeah, so around this time, we're getting done with this upcoming fall season, with recruits. And now we're kind of into the thick of things for the 2025 class coming up. So,
So in terms of, I know it was challenging for me recruiting at the NCCAA level, and you guys are NCCAA Division II, which means no athletic scholarship. So, where do you primarily target your recruiting efforts? Is it uh, certain types of schools, certain clubs, or is it primarily local, international? What's kind of your recruiting base usually?
yeah, and so we're located in Oklahoma City, so a lot of local players, local clubs as well that I go and try and recruit and build relationships with students as well as with the club coaches or high school coaches. And then we're only about 2.5 hours from the Dallas area. And Dallas is a big pool of great soccer players, regardless of what clubs they play at. And so um, that is also another recruiting hotbed that I try to go to when there's big tournaments there. And then the Tulsa area, which is about an hour and 20 minutes from Oklahoma City. And so that's really my main recruiting focus. But we also do a lot of branding through social media, so Twitter, Instagram, and we've actually gotten a hold of a player or two just because of that as well. So we have a player upcoming um, for the fall season from Nashville, Tennessee, and she found us on Instagram, and so locally in person, more than likely, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, and Dallas. But we're open, to anybody in the country using our social media brand. So
Well, hopefully this podcast will expose some people to Randall that weren't familiar, and maybe we'll get you one or two just from this. But so in terms of going to events and things, do you also work any ID camps? Do you guys host ID camps? Are they part of your recruiting mix at all?
I do work quite a bit of ID camps. I've worked Oral Roberts University ID camp. I work every year the Oklahoma State Women's Elite ID camp as well. It's just a big mixture of players. They're the D1 coaches, Coach Carmichael and Coach Austin, they're very welcoming and letting other colleges that aren't competing against them to come work those ID camps and scout. And it gives the players an opportunity to be able to be scouted by other colleges as well. You don't see those ID camps very often where there's a multitude of coaches, all the way from D1, other D1 schools, all the way down to NCCAA. And so I try to work those ID camps as much as I can. We host an ID camp once a year. It's in the very beginning of the fall season, and more than likely it's for local players. But right now with the 2025 class, those players will also get invites to come to those ID camps. Not necessarily a moneymaker, but players that are really serious about us. So.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. All right. Well, it is, one of the things that's kind of blown up recently is the transfer portal. And then it seems also that college soccer is drawing a lot more attention from international recruits. So do you
Mhm.
guys get any are you looking internationally at all? I know you obviously don't have access to the portal, but are you working on any transfers? Is that part of your recruiting mix?
And so for the transfers, we have to I kind of have to wait and see if anybody wants to come to us. We actually this past spring we actually got a transfer from NCAA Division Two, to us, and so we're excited about having her for the fall season. Internationally, previously the school has worked a lot of internationals. This fall, we haven't had any internationals as of right now, but it doesn't mean we're not trying to work them as well. And so, really, whatever players that we can try and find. But yes, we most definitely try to work every avenue possible for us so we can, continue to build something here at Randall. So
Okay. Well, whether it's at an ID camp or a showcase or any of these things, what is it that you're looking for in a player? Kind of what makes up that hierarchy of things you're recruiting for, whether that's on the field attributes or off the field stuff?
yeah, off the field stuff. You know, when we go to tournaments or when we talk to local players, we try to find out about their academic standing. We're a small private Christian school. And so they focus on the academics. The school does, a lot more than this than just being a student athlete. And so off the field, how are their GPA? What's their ACT or SAT scores? What degree plan are you want to get into? Um, and if you get a good feel, some students are not very good test takers, but they have a high GPA, then the more likely they're gonna do pretty good at our school. If they're great test takers and they have a high GPA, like, okay, now this is somebody we're seriously wanting to talk to. And then off the field, and then on the field, if they can play soccer, what type of level they're playing at, how long have they been playing? They have to have a competitive drive because the NCCAA, it's like the wild, wild west out here with scheduling or playing teams, and so they have to have a competitive drive to really like understand what you're about to get into. And we see that on the field, whether it be club soccer, some high school games as well. And so academically, if they're in a good standing, and then on the field, if they're okay to compete, like, understand that it's going to be a grind. And you can see those things on the field as well and talk to club coaches, high school coaches, and things like that. So.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, let's shift gears. Let's talk a little bit more about the schools. I'm sure some folks aren't familiar with Randall. So, what do you enjoy about it? What drew you to it? What are some awesome things you found about the school? Maybe some things you wouldn't even know by going through the website.
Yeah. Some people that even live in the town don't know about Randall, so that's okay. And we're trying to, put ourselves out there a little bit as well. It's a small private Christian school. Um, and what I like about it, it does feel like home. If you're a student or if you're a person that is okay with a small campus, um, it's a family friendly environment. That's what drew me into the school. I can take my daughter to school without any issues, not feeling out of place. The students can go around the school, talk to anybody, whether it be professors, the president, or AD, um, and feel good about it. Our classes are small, so the students really enjoy that decide to come there because they get to focus on their academics and their teachers. Their professors becomes their tutor essentially. It's a bigger campus than what I originally thought. It's 40 acres. Um, but you can only see one big building off the interstate. And so, okay, I'm like, yeah, this is good. And yeah, when I first took the job, I knew it was going to be, pretty hard. But I have the backing of our president, of our AD, of our admissions team, everybody there. And so I really do feel comfortable at home, being at Randall University, and they also let me enjoy my family time as well. I think it's important to have a good work and home balance, and they allow me to do that as well as a student athlete. So.
Yeah, that's great. Well, sometimes for high school kids going into a college environment, it's a big shift, let alone, making the shift to collegiate athletics. And I know all coaches, parents, teachers, everybody wants those student athletes to be successful on the field as well as in the classroom. So making that transition can be tough. What support systems does the school have in place or the team have in place to really help, players be successful both on the field and off?
Yeah, and so we have a study hall. The students can always go in the study hall and make sure they get their work done. The professors know, their professors are also their advisors. So if I'm going into like an exercise science program, the teacher is going to teach me is also my advisor. So the teacher already knows that the student is going to be a student athlete, and so they work around the schedule to make sure that they work with practices, or games. The students just have to be in consistent communication with the professors, and then also with us coaches as well. We have bi-weekly meetings to where we check upon their grades, make sure that they're okay. If we need to talk to the professor, we can. So it's a little bit more hands-on in that sense. And then also understanding that the class is smaller, so don't hesitate to reach out to the teacher at any time. But a lot of that is on the students, but a lot of it is on me as well to make sure that the student athlete is engaged with their academics during the season. And then we also have counselors on campus, whether it be mental health counselors or tutors to help out our students, on the academic side.
Okay. Well, let's kind of rewind it back to the fall. What would a typical week look like for your players in terms of when are practices, classes, meals? What's your normal game cadence? What would a typical week look like for somebody?
Yeah, so I'm working on the schedule to make sure to see who we have and what classes and whatnot. And so it looks like everyone's starting around 9 o'clock for classes. Um, then on Tuesdays and Thursdays we have chapel from 10:30 to 11. I'm sorry, 10:40 to 11:30. Then we have lunch, and the students go back to class after lunch. And then our practices start from 2 to 4. And this is a fall season. And then games are we typically we try to do Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesdays away games, Fridays home games. Um, and so yeah, that's for the fall season. The spring season, we practice right now 2 times a week. Um, it's just a little bit slower paced. On this spring semester, we try to get the students to really focus on the academic side because we've asked so much of them for the fall season. And then the summer, we give them a summer packet. And then we also host some practices on campus as well, where they have to practice on their own. But we're able to watch, them do that. And so um, traveling for the fall season, the furthest we'll travel is like 6.5 hours. But our games are regionally, so Texas, Arkansas, and Kansas City. That's where we'll be traveling for our games. So,
Okay. Well, in terms of the school itself, and I'm not holding you to, super hard numbers here, but just to give
all good.
folks an idea, um, what would a typical cost of attendance look like for one of your players? Obviously, they're not getting athletic money, but what kind of other aid is available? What does tuition, room and board, all that kind of roughly look like?
Yeah. I guess the most the school can cost is $28,000 a year. That's without any grant scholarships, anything like that. Some players can typically paid $20,000, and that's before scholarships that the institution offers. So we do have institutional scholarships that the institution does offer to bring down those costs. Financial aid is a big thing for us as well. We have something specifically called Oklahoma Promise that helps pay for tuition as well for the school. And so the most maybe a student would pay is maybe 20,000 a year, and that's again that's with the very minimum scholarships. But we also have students coming in that are not paying a dime uh, to go to our school. And so, something we talk about when we are recruiting players, I always talk to the parents first and foremost. because I try to be transparent as possible in talking to them about money. If the school costs too much, then okay, like there's no reason for you to come here. Um, but if the school is affordable through their budget, then this is somebody I can continue to recruit because it fits into at least, financially what they're trying to look for. So
Sure, absolutely. Well, let's talk more about the team and the soccer side of things. I know you're still kind of wrapping up that recruiting class, but what is a roster size that you find is ideal that you're trying to hit each year?
yeah, well, so last year was my first year at Randall. Um, I've had to learn a lot about recruiting, just how the system works, especially being a NCCA Division two school. So last year we played a whole season with only 11 players, and so we had no major injuries, a lot of rest, a lot of recovery for our players, and and just and I'll add to it, but we made it to our semifinals, our regional championship. We lost 4-1. And so for this upcoming season, my main focus was like, okay, we need subs. And so the fall season looks like we'll have around 18 players, which is great, for us. And so I don't necessarily know what a good roster number is because we've only had 11 last fall and we're looking to have 18. 18 for us this fall will be absolutely amazing. I know the girls are extremely hyped up about it due to the fact that they'll have subs, but also the incoming freshmen, they'll probably more likely contribute throughout the season. And so right now, typically, we're looking to have 18 to 20 players for the season. So
Well, I just want to say congratulations on that because to no, seriously, I my first year coaching NCCAA and it was also NCAA Division two. My last game I took 12 too, so I get
yeah.
it.
Hmm.
The timing of some of these hirings can be tough to actually recruit that first year for sure, but to have the season you did with 11 is very, very commendable and congrats on getting up to 18. That'll help you out for sure.
Thank
So
you.
so awesome. Um, Talk to me about other staff. Whether do you have other coaching staff? Are there other support staff in the athletic department? Who else kind of helps out with the team during the course of a year?
Yeah. So last year we had a player that graduated, and I talked to her, and she stayed for the season. So she helped me out quite a bit, especially getting to know like the teams that we're playing against, what the typical college schedule looks like because it was new to me. And so she did a great job of helping me with that. And she moved on to go pursue her GA, yeah, her GA. And I was a very like go do it. And so this upcoming season, we'll have a former player of mine just this past fall, and she'll stay with us. She's going to be our goalkeeper coach. And then right now we're looking for an assistant coach, for the upcoming fall season. With these positions, they are volunteer positions. So it's just, I try to look for people that want to get into the college game, and make sure that we add this to their resume. Because it's college soccer. We may be smaller than a lot of schools, but it's still a season, it's still a grind. And so anybody that can help us out. So it's usually former players that we try to look for, a female specifically as well. Because they're women and I have a few girls that, I just don't know how to deal with sometimes. And I'm talking about my house. And so it's always good to have a coach that reflects what we have on and off the field. And then our athletic director helps us out with anything we may need, budget wise, maybe some things that we need for the season, like benches or food and drinks, things like that. Parents as well. I actually try to include the parents quite a bit into our college season because we have a lot of local players. And so parents don't scare me, um, being involved into the college program. And then anybody, we have a bursar that helps us out with video on game day, so he live streams our games. So it's a big help for the fall season. And then the men's coach as well. We're very close. He's a good friend of mine. We try to do whatever we can together, budget wise, to make sure that we have equipment or anything else we may need for both programs, not just one. So.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's talk about you as a coach. Kind of describe your coaching style, the style of play you're looking to implement there.
Yeah, coaching style, I'm pretty laid back. And so when the girls hear me raise my voice, they know I'm pretty serious. But for the most part, I'm pretty laid back. I During the game, I try to talk to them tactically, try to get the emotions out of the game. If there's emotions involved, we try to the coaching staff and I try to calm them down. And then, so last year we played a direct style of play. We just had a very fast winger. She was able to play left or right wing. And so, we just try to find her the ball, as much as possible. She scored 16 goals last season. Um, I wasn't like extremely comfortable with that. I do like positional play. And so that's the style of implementation that we're looking to do in the fall. But whatever can get us girls success is what we'll try and do. But I think the players that we're bringing in understand what what they've played before, or at least I understand what they've played before, and so that's what we'll try and do for this upcoming fall season. So
Awesome. Well, Coach, I really appreciate all your time. I'm going to ask you one last question to end on here.
okay.
And, having now been there a couple years and you learning about this recruiting process a bunch, what have you learned? What is one thing maybe you want potential student athletes to know about the recruiting process as they're going through this journey?
Yeah, I think you said it best right there. It's their journey. So just understand that it's your journey, that you have the leverage in what school you're wanting to go to. And so, don't be scared to involve your parents into that recruiting process, and just be as transparent as possible with coaches, whether you're interested in going to the school, whether you're not interested, whether the school costs too much, whether the school is a good setup for you. It's trying to find the right fit for you, regardless if it's all the way from D1 down to NCCA Division two. If you, it's just finding the right fit and just being transparent as possible through your recruiting process, regardless of whatever coach you talk to. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, really appreciate it. Wish you the best of luck as you wrap up the class and get ready for that fall season. And we hope you continue to bring more success to the Randall program. All right.
thank you, Matt.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. It's Matt from Discover College Soccer. I hope you're enjoying the podcast, whether that's on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I also wanted to let you know about the Discover College Soccer Study Table. This is our brand new online portal that is complete with a 14-part online course giving you all of the ins and outs of the college soccer recruiting process. There's also a wealth of resources such as checklists, templates. There's the spreadsheets that have every soccer program in the country along with their coaches, their contact information, their social media information, some basic stats about the school, and more. Plus, there's an online community where you can ask your questions, share your wins, your losses, any questions that you may have around the college soccer recruiting process. It's all there at the Discover College Soccer study table that you can find at discovercollegesoccer.com/study table, and hopefully we will see you there.